Hey there everyone, welcome back to another Game Vault video. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault, and streamers are critical of Bioware's Dragon Age, the Veilguard. Well, they weren't given review codes. That includes me. Not that I expected one anyway. I'm not anywhere near that level yet, but let's talk about this for a minute. So we'll cue up the music and we'll get right to it. YouTuber Wolfheart FPS reports that at least 3 streamers and YouTubers that were critical of Dragon Age the Veilguard during an initial playtest have not been given review codes for the full game. So I guess these were guys that got to do a little preliminary play of the game. And yeah, if they weren't on board, then boom. Is this, I mean, can you blame a company for doing that? No, you can't. You want positive views going out for your game. You want positive words being spoken about it. You want people to be interested in your game and want to buy it. You don't want people to go out there and bash it. I get it. I get it 100%. It's not dishonest to not do that, but it's also not, completely honest. If I don't know. I get why they did it. There's a lot of controversy surrounding Veilguard. It's going to have a hard time when it launches here. I think their review embargo is going to be lifted shortly after this video goes live, so I'm going to be very curious to see how this thing is reviewed. I imagine the mainstream, IGNs and so forth are going to be, all over themselves praising the game and its diversity and all that garbage. But the actual game itself, I'm really curious to see what players think about it, what some of these streamers and YouTubers and all think about it. Real people, not paid shills for IGN or Kotaku or anything like that. Wolfheart FPS reported on X that 3 creators, himself included, were a bit more critical than others with our hands-on time with Dragon Age the Veilguard. Not a single one of us will be getting a review code with time to actually give opinions before release. Just thought I would throw that out there. Yeah, that seems punitive on the part of Bioware. In a subsequent post, he added, "Please keep in mind, folks, that this does not mean that my more critical opinion is better or more truthful than those who have been more positive. I'm just simply pointing out how marketing works. This also doesn't mean the game will be bad, but it is something to consider." And again, inherently it seems just slightly dishonest, He also pushed back in response to YouTuber Kayla Elizabeth, noting that individuals who gave positive reviews did not get review copies as well. She wrote, "There were also people who were very positive and were also at the event who didn't get review copies also. I definitely think you guys should have been given codes, but I just want to point out that it wasn't only people being more critical who weren't given codes." Wolfheart FPS responded, "I understand that, and I did my research on this before posting. The point is more so that everyone I know of who was critical did not get a code, with 2 of us being heavily involved in the party-based RPG scene. It's just not a good look. It is, however, a good look on the investor side of the equation, though." He's absolutely right, In this video titled "Mixed Impressions After Playing Dragon Age the Veilguard Early," Wolfheart FPS concluded at the end, "Overall initial impression-wise, the game is pulling me in so many different directions and it leaves me very conflicted. But as a fan of the franchise as a whole, and as someone who's already gone through the mourning period that the DA franchise would head more towards the CRPG direction or more towards the deep, complex RPG direction, I guess I could say I do find myself still excited to jump back into it on release." So, it sounds like he enjoyed it, but he's, being critical of things. And, it's one thing to not give a code to someone who bashes the game on something other than maybe its fundamentals, right? Like, I wouldn't want to play the game based off of the look of the game. I think it looks terrible. I think the character design is awful and all that. It just wouldn't hold me. And then you combine that with what I'm assuming is going to be very cringe dialogue, based on character designs. If the dialogue and the writing goes along with that design in any way, shape, or form, it's going to be awful. It's going to be like MCU light banter garbage, full of quips and all that kind of stuff that's just overplayed and I don't know, you just get tired of that crap. And when it's written by these millennials that are now taking over the writing scene and all that, it's even worse because these people don't know how to communicate with each other. They're terminally online don't think they've ever had a real conversation face to face outside of their own little bubble of people, you know, which is kind of, it shows in the writing and stuff like that. And then you throw on top of that all the woke DEI nonsense, yeah, this is not a game for me. So I understand not giving somebody like me, if I was one of these people, a code being like, well, this guy's just kind of a dick about some of these reasons and yada yada. I don't think we'll get a fair shake from him. And you probably wouldn't. I'd be perfectly honest with you. I wouldn't even, I'd be like, yeah, the gameplay was fun and all that, but blah, the rest of it. But, my opinion's as valid as the next guy, but I would understand more someone like me not getting one. But this guy, it sounds like he just was, mildly critical of things that he would have liked to have seen improve the game. And that's what's wrong with modern gaming. That's one of the major problems. We talked about this before, toxic positivity. I think Asmongold talked about it in a video once, and I hear it more and more, where this was associated with Concord, I believe, where you get toxic positivity inside of these development studios, and all these guys are doing is, I call it blowing each other, about the game. Oh, that's great, yeah, that's amazing, that's great. Whereas maybe it's not so great, And then if something gets out there and fans are critical of it, they just crap all over that fan and say, well, this game isn't meant for you. Don't buy the game then if you don't like it, and don't do this and don't do that. They refuse to accept the fact that maybe there is something to be criticized, maybe there is something to be looked at, and maybe there's something that could be improved upon. And if they listened and they followed some of those things, you don't have to follow all of them, but if they're like, wow, we previewed this and 10,000 people watched this clip and 30% of them commented on this, maybe we should look at that, because not everybody's going to comment on it, but if 30% of the people did, that means more noticed it, they just didn't comment on it. And yeah, so toxic positivity, that's what I see in games like this, and that's probably what's going on here. They just don't want to hear it, and that's a shame. But with that said, I just can't confidently say to you all, that as my audience, that yeah, this is a definite buy. My guess is that the game will unfortunately continue to be quite divisive, but I could be wrong, he added. He also shared for myself, the potential story in the world building is a powerful enough force to the DA franchise that I'll be playing it no matter what, and there are certainly some cool things that I talked about in the video, but I don't really see any world where this would be like my game of the year or anything like that. A few of the negatives I mentioned in the video, they just feel a little too impactful for what I personally value in games, specifically RPGs. So what do you guys make of Wolfhard FPS's claim that Bioware refused to provide copies? It doesn't shock me one single bit. That's what these guys do, and he's right. It's smart marketing, right? You're not going to give things out to people that are going to criticize it and make it look bad because you're going to lose sales on it. You want to get it in the hands of those who are going to give you the best shake of it. That's why you can't really trust reviews all the time. I mean, it is what it is. If you look at something and you watch the trailers and you watch some gameplay and you get a feeling about it, it doesn't matter if everybody gives it a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. If that thing is bothering you, it's probably going to bother you in the game. If it bothers you in a 30-second or 2-minute trailer or whatever, it's going to bother you over the course of 10 to 100 hours in a game, depending on what type of game it is. And it's only going to get worse and worse, I would assume. So I would wait until the game's released, look at a wider range of reviews, from professional reviews to some of the more amateur guys, watch some gameplay videos and listen to some people break things down and all that, and then decide whether or not you want to buy a game like this. And the fact that they're giving it away with the GeForce subscription right now, and I think, is it GeForce? Yeah, maybe. And I think they partnered with NVIDIA or something like that, or maybe that was someone else. No, it's NVIDIA with the GeForce thing. Anyway, yeah, they're giving away this game for a lot of people, so it's going to kind of elevate those day one numbers a little bit. I think there's another way you can get this game for free. And, it's well and good. It's clever marketing, right? So we'll see what happens. I have a feeling we're going to see decent sales because it is an established IP, just like we saw with Silent Hill, just like we will see with Assassin's Creed if and when Shadows comes out. Because when you have these IPs with built-in audiences, they're going to sell to some degree. You've got hardcore fans of the series that are going to buy it no matter what. You've got people that are familiar with the name. They're a little more casual maybe in the gaming scene, but they're familiar with this. Oh, you know what? I played a Dragon Age game before. I liked it. I'm going to get this game and try it out. You know, it's when it comes down to people that look into these things a little bit more, that study gaming a little bit more. They're a little heavier into the politics of it, the culture of it, and all that. Those are the ones that are going to either smash or pass this game based off all those other little talking points that have been going on. You know, so it is what it is. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Leave a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell for notifications. Be curious to see, and we'll talk about how the initial reviews are in a video in a day or two. Until then, peace.